Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here, and I was wrong. My prediction that I made yesterday was that Cloud9 was going to tell us what happened with LS, that they were going to, come out and give their explanation this coming Friday. And like I said, I was wrong. Obviously, that came out this Tuesday. I am happy that I got my prediction video out beforehand because I still think it made sense. I still think it was a good prediction. And, at the end of the day, I'm happy that we got an explanation, however good or bad it was or whatever, sooner rather than later. And this is it. This is the big video. This is where we're going to be going over everything that happened because this has been a crazy day. One of the craziest days in recent memory of everyone having a hot take, everyone being heated on both sides, everyone being upset at Cloud9, at the Cloud9 haters, at LS, at Jack, at, all these different people involved. And if you're just here to hear, the 50th person just kind of crap on Cloud9 and say how incompetent they are and how terrible the messages was and how they're so stupid, idiots, blah, 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 this isn't the video for you. I don't think Cloud9 did everything perfectly. I don't agree with necessarily everything they said or did, but for the most part, I get it. And for the most part, I think a lot of it makes a ton of sense. And I personally am not mad or upset at the organization. And in this video, I don't want to change your mind. I don't want to convince you that I'm right or you're wrong or whatever. I just want to present some of the viewpoints that I think are being kind of lost in the chaoticness and craziness, and give my honest thoughts and opinions. I mean, that's what I love doing on this channel. And it would be very, very easy for me to just dunk on Cloud9. I mean, you saw everyone doing that on Twitter today. I think some people that didn't even have an opinion or necessarily care about this whole situation dunked on Cloud9 on social media because it was a free 1 to 50,000 likes on Twitter. All you had to do was say, wow, C9, you said a lot of words and said nothing. That was you got 5,000 likes if you tweeted that out. I could have done that today. If that's what I thought, obviously I would have done that. I would love to get the free interactions, the free views, the free publicity. And even if that wasn't what I thought, I would have considered doing it. But that's not what I did. I shared, my true point of view, and that's what we'll be going over in this video today. So a little bit longer of an intro, but I think this deserved longer of an intro. Drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. Even if you disagree with me, we can still have discussion. You don't have to hate me. You don't have to unsubscribe. You don't have to tell me how big of an idiot I am. We can disagree and still have discussions. Discussions aren't fun if everyone just agrees with everyone all the time. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Maybe we'll lose some subs from this. I mean, it is what it is. I'm here for those people that are here for the long run. But with that being said, let's get right into this. This whole thing obviously has to start with the actual our explanation and what's next for Cloud9. Very, very interesting. This is actually number 19 on trending on YouTube. Pretty crazy, especially, for an esports video. But that just shows you how big this whole drama, scandal, whatever is. Shows you how big Cloud9 is. It shows you how big LS is, how influential they are. And 150,000 views and 2,000 likes. Not exactly a great ratio. I can't imagine the comments are all that nice. But let's go over what they say. I don't want to go over the whole video. I just want to go over the main part of Jack giving his explanation. Obviously, some people are saying lack of explanation. Some people are saying sufficient explanation, whatever. Let's see what he has to say.
Guys, this is Jack Etienne with Cloud9. I brought some of the team members with me to discuss the recent LS situation, why he was released, and where we're going in the future. Obviously, you guys showed a lot of concern about it, and we are also very disappointed with the decision that we had to make. Unfortunately, the reason why we got to the point we were with LS was that Cloud9 for years has developed systems on how we like to coach and operate our team. And despite our best efforts working with LS to try to come to terms and see eye to eye on how that should work, we're unable to make that actually happen. I think it's important to note that all players, coaches, and management were aware of these issues and frustrations and our mutual efforts to try to resolve them over the last several weeks. Unfortunately, as time went on, it was really clear that we're unable to find a resolution and come together on figuring out this problem. And we decided that it was important that we make a change and release LS at that point so we could move forward and focus on the future.
So that is pretty much his explanation, and that's what has people upset. And on one hand, I get it. People want the story. People want the scoop. People want that one big moment or those list of moments. People want exactly what happened. And people are saying, this isn't telling us what happened. You said a bunch of words and said nothing. Oh, LS, come coach our team. And then he coaches our team. And hold up. Whoa. Don't coach our team like that. You're fired. And I disagree with all those opinions. I mean, one, I think they do tell us enough of what happened. And yes, they can't tell us everything. Yes, they can't tell us specific events. Yes, they can't tell us whatever. Because some people are saying, oh, Cloud9 just wants to, cover up the truth, or they want to make themselves look good or whatever. But also, I don't think enough LS fans are considering the counterpoint of what if they're not telling the full stories, or what if they're not telling everything that's going on behind the scenes? One, because that's extremely unprofessional. Two, because what if that is bad for LS? What if what actually happened, or the stories behind the scenes, or what's coming out would make LS look worse, or hurt his future prospects, or would be an overall net negative for LS and stuff? Maybe they don't want to publicly dunk on him after he's already going through a rough time. He already got fired. He's already getting sent back to Korea. He's already going through all this craziness. What if they are doing it in benefit of him? Now, obviously, I don't know, and you don't know. I've heard some things. People talk. I have somewhat of an idea of the things that are going on, but obviously I'll never know the full stories. Only the people in the organization and stuff will. It's all just kind of he said, she said, through the grapevine and playing telephone and stuff like that. But that is very well possible. I also think it is very, very interesting and very, very telling that up until this point, LS has been largely quiet on the situation. He has said that he's not going to speak on this situation. If this was such a travesty and LS was so wronged and LS was done so dirty, and the truth coming out would make him look better, or would benefit him, or would really help him out in a meaningful way, why doesn't LS tell the story? LS is fully capable of speaking. He's fully capable of telling the story. He's fully capable of, clearing his name or dunking on Cloud9 or whatever. That's just another fact that maybe plays into my personal theory of, it's just a suggestion, just an idea, just kind of a mental exercise of, what if Cloud9 is acting in the best interest of LS? Because I don't necessarily think Cloud9 is protecting themselves. Cloud9 is already dealing with a PR nightmare. They're already losing a bunch of fans, losing a bunch of money. Their team, just had a really, really rough week, obviously on the stage, dealing with all this turmoil and stuff, and they're getting a ton of hate on all social medias right now. Like, what else do they have to protect themselves from? I don't really think that makes too much sense. But when you actually dive into what Jack said, I think a lot of it can be explained. A lot of it can be inferred. And I do, I have some tweets that I'm going to show you guys that I think further kind of plays into this. But let's hear exactly what he says again.
On how that should work. Despite our best efforts, we got to the point we were with LS, was that Cloud9 for years has developed systems on how we like to coach and operate our team. And
so that's the big thing. They have systems for how they like to coach and operate their teams. And a lot of people are taking that, okay, in English, words can mean multiple different things. A lot of people, I think, are taking to coach and implement their systems, operate their teams, as meaning actual like strategies, X's and O's. People are saying, oh, well, we knew LS was going to come and bring this, 15-man roster of scrimming their academy team and all this stuff. We knew he was going to do unconventional drafts. We knew, he was maybe going to do some unconventional stuff. And Cloud9 should have been down for that, and now LS is doing it. They're not down for it. And no. That's not what I think at all. That's not truly what I believe. I think when they're saying coaching and implementing and operating this stuff, they're talking about the actual coaching, the interpersonal aspect of coaching, the relationships and teaching and interacting and communicating and that kind of stuff. You can have all the X's and O's and ideas and whatever, and that's one piece, coming up with strategies, coming up with all the stuff, coming up with the drafts. But then also, you're there to help your players get better. You're there to coach people up. You're there to lead your team. You're there to do a lot of things. And one criticism that I've always had of LS, dating back to, the beginnings of my channel since I've ever spoken about LS, is I don't think he is the best communicator. I don't think he has the best interpersonal skills in the world. I think he is a potentially very, very smart mind about the game, a very smart guy. That does not mean he's a great communicator. That does not mean he's a great leader. That does not mean he knows how to talk to people respectfully, does not know how to talk to people professionally, does not know how to talk to people productively. And I think that is what they mean by the coaching aspects. I think at Cloud9, they have a way of doing things. They have a way that coaches and all people are allowed to talk with each other and interact with each other. And even, you see this all the time. You have coaches in different sports. You have everything from the insane hothead coach that his freaking face turns red at every single practice because he's yelling at everybody. And that works in some teams, that works with some players, that works in some environments. And then you have the exact opposite. You have the player coach who never has to scream, tries to earn his players' respect in other ways, tries to, build them up and bring a more positive attitude and talk to them in a whole different way. And that works in some organizations, and that works in some teams, and that works with some players. I think that is what Jack and Cloud9 are talking about. And again, from what I'm gathering from this whole situation, I did tweet about this as well. This is my read on the LS situation. C9 brought him on because they know he is smart about the game and could potentially could potentially help the team. Everyone knows he has issues communicating professionally and productively. I say in quotes, everyone. I don't think that's that hot of a take. I think the risk with LS was always, how is this guy going to operate in a team environment? Is he going to keep his cool? Is he going to talk to people respectfully? Is he going to flame people? Is he going to shit on people? Is he going to make people feel bad? Is he going to, do weird shit like that? Which, that's always the risk I thought you were taking by bringing LS on. And what my read on the whole situation is, they thought they could help / work with him on that, and it wasn't working. Pretty clear IMO. Now, this tweet got a bunch of likes. It got a ton of interactions from people in the Cloud9 organization. A couple different team managers interacted with it. People close to Cloud9 interacted with this tweet. So that doesn't necessarily mean that this tweet is 100% accurate, but I think this explains the whole Cloud9 situation a little bit better. I think this is pretty dang close to what happened. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Just because, I don't know. And on the other hand, I get it. There are still some people who agree with me that this is true, but then they also say, hey, you knew what you were getting with LS. He's kind of a guy who talks to people in that type of way, kind of a brash guy, whatever. Maybe rubs some people the wrong way. Maybe, doesn't know how to articulate his ideas 100% correctly in a team environment or have those amazing interpersonal skills or whatever. And by bringing LS in, you were either going to be willing to work with him on that, or you were kind of taking the good with the bad. Some people are like, hey, you can't take the bad guy and try and change him, like in like a relationship dating sense or whatever. And that I totally agree, and I think I tweeted about that as well. I said like, hey, my take, one fair criticism I do agree with, and something I have been saying since his hiring. You knew who LS was, how he operates, how he speaks, how he communicates with people going into this whole thing. I think it's fair for people to question that aspect. So if you are mad in that way, I think that's a little bit more fair. I think that makes a little bit more sense. But again, all in all, for the Cloud9 statement, was it perfect? I'm a guy who loves drama. I love getting to the bottom of things. I love hearing things. I think this statement was enough. Really, for me, it truly was enough. I appreciate Jack and C9 making a statement. I appreciate them saying something. I appreciate it being timely. It's just a couple days after the whole situation happened. Could it have been better? Could it have been more in depth? Could it have been sooner? Could this whole situation have been handled a little bit better? Sure, but nothing in life is perfect. I'm sure any of y'all who would have handled the situation would have done it, in some better ways, maybe some worse ways, maybe. But at the end of the day, I think this suffices, and I think it's time we just put this whole LS situation behind us. I want to give some takes from some other people in the scene as well. We had Monte Cristo come out and say, this one guy said, why would you hire LS of all people? It's pretty obvious he was going to bring in his own methods. And Monte Cristo said, hey, this may blow your mind, but sometimes things that should work out in theory don't work out in practice due to the methods or how they're implemented or the personalities of people involved. Tim Sevenheisen, replied to Cadrill's tweet. He said, why was LS released? Because. And again, I don't think C9 said because. I think they explained as much as they could. I think they gave us some info. But Tim says, would you rather have them flame LS with a list of everything they thought he did wrong, or try to make him look bad on the way out so they could save face? Or do you think they actually had no reasons for firing LS beyond he didn't fit our existing coaching systems? Again, I think Tim, I don't always agree with Tim, but I think he's a pretty level-headed, mature guy who understands a lot of these things on a higher level than a lot of people in this scene. I thought that was a good tweet. We also have another one from Monte Cristo. He said, to provide some insights, Cloud9 has spent years creating player development and coaching systems that they tried to implement across all teams. The LOL roster has been the first to implement these structures, and they have been successful. Changing these systems would have had a ripple effect on the Oregon teams in other games. It would mean that C9 would be all in on LS in every game. Clearly, this was an impossible situation unless C9 wanted to shift their entire org culture or LS wanted to do it the C9 way. You can argue about which system would be better, but what matters is what C9 likes at the C9 system, and that is that. And some people have said, hey, again, you knew what you were getting with LS or whatever, but then again, the counterpoint is, what if Cloud9, when they were signing LS as a coach, was like, hey, here's how we do things. We like your ideas about the game. We think you're great. But here's how we do things. So we are going to need you to operate within these, constraints, or we're going to need you to talk to people this way. Or if things get out of hand, you're going to have to do X, Y, Z. These are kind of the rules that we operate here on Cloud9. And what if LS agreed to all that? And what if when LS came to Cloud9, that stuff wasn't happening? What if he was going back on his word? What if he was breaking agreements they had? You don't know what was already implemented or told to LS or put in place behind the scenes. If this is truly the Cloud9 way for all games, I'm sure LS was aware of these things when he took the job, and I'm sure he agreed to a lot of these things as well. Now, maybe he didn't, fully follow through on his side. Maybe Cloud9 didn't either. Again, we don't know. But I'm just seeing a very, very one-sided conversation, and I think there is an entirely other whole side to this thing. And I get why that side's not being told. LS is very popular. He has a very passionate fan base. People really like him. He's very popular. And it's easier to root for, a face and a person and a character, content creator, whatever that you really enjoy and like and connect with than an organization that is, big business and all this stuff. But that doesn't mean they deserve this much blind hate and kind of the community reaction and stuff. And like I said, I do think a lot of people are just saying stuff like this because, you look at a tweet like K-Drills, you can get 25,000 likes for just posting a stupid nothing meme that really says nothing. And many other people did this as well. I know Vedius commented on this, and I don't know, a lot of other people just had kind of nothing takes just to get, hey, 25,000, 15,000, 10,000 Twitter likes. And I mean, more power to them. Hey, it's growing their stuff. It's making them look better. It's making people happy. But again, like I said, I'm never going to be someone that just shares an opinion because it's popular. I'm always going to tell you guys what I do truly feel. We also had Doa come out and say, not sure what more people are wanting out of this. Sounds like there were some severe issues between LS and the org over how he wanted to run things. Sucks, but it happens. Disappointing that it seems like people are only satisfied with play-by-play of specific drama moments. And again, that is something they're absolutely never going to get. I don't know. That's kind of where we're at in this whole situation. I also did, put out on Twitter that, hey, there was a C9 before LS. There was a very successful C9 before LS. They're known as NA's Last Hope. They're known as the best performing LCS, team internationally. And yes, people are saying, hey, LS had so much great stuff going on. He had them 3-1. They were doing so great. But also rewind. I know Yankos had a take of like, they were 3-1 in 4 best of ones. That literally means nothing. If you played those same games again, and Cloud9 had some very close games out of those 4, if you run those same games back, C9 could so easily be 2-2 or 1-3 or maybe even 0-4. Who knows? Also, LS definitely caught some people off with some new unique picks. Who knows how teams would have adapted to those over time? Who knows how games would have gone as people were more used to those. Yes, he had a very, very good start record-wise, and yes, he did some interesting things that people liked, but that doesn't necessarily mean he was ready to, change the world for Cloud9 or anything like that. There was a Cloud9 before LS. There will be a Cloud9 after LS. If you are an LS fan, I get if you're upset. I get if you're mad. I get if you hate Cloud9. I get if you never want to support them again. I get it if you never want to root for them. But I don't necessarily understand you, taking to Twitter and throwing all this fit and acting like C9 is the worst thing in the world or anything like that. It is a little bit strange to me. And like I said, if LS wants to speak out, he can tell his story. If the truth is going to make him look better, why wouldn't he do that? But instead, we're getting from LS, here's his thing. I'm done with coaching, at least in official positions. He also said, hey, I'm not going to speak on this matter. I'll do some interviews. I'd love to talk with people, but I'm done talking about this. We're moving on. And I think that is pretty telling of the whole situation, at least in my opinion. And again, It's just my opinion. You might have a different opinion, and hey, I know you probably do have a different opinion just by judging of everything I've seen on Twitter and everything. And that's okay. But I hope you did at least give my opinion and my take on things a chance. And like I said, if you need to dislike this video, if you need to unsubscribe, do what you got to do. But I'm going to keep doing my thing. And that's pretty much it for this video. I know it was a little bit longer, but hopefully it was still entertaining. I don't know. I had fun talking about it. I had so much in my brain just kind of turning. I needed to get it all out. So I definitely feel good now. Definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate it a ton. Leave a comment down below. Anything you want to talk about. Anything about this whole situation. I know there's a lot going on. Maybe there's some stuff I missed. I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. I pretty much read all the comments. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.